You're here to receive a very special psychic prescription for how to best play with the universal energies that will be present this week. And that's the week from the 24th of April to the 30th of April 2020. I'm Kylie Savidge Psychic, and this is the weekly Oracle card reading. Now, just before we get into the reading, I'd like to take a moment to offer my respect and deep and sincere gratitude to all service people, past and present, who have served this country. And I would like to honour them with a minute's silence. As you may know, it is ANZAC Day tomorrow. So I will just start the timer. And if you'd like to join me with just a minute's silence to pay our respects and to commemorate this very special moment. Oh, and then it's trying to fix it up. Thank you so much for that. I'm not sure about the celebrations or what you observe in your country, if you observe Anzac Day, but here in Australia, it's a pretty big deal. And you may know because of the pandemic that will be, well, I think it's the first time in my lifetime that there won't actually be Anzac Day parades. Or mass gatherings to celebrate and commemorate Anzac Day. So what they've asked us here to do in Australia is stand at the end of our driveway in tomorrow morning to pay our respects. So I'm wondering if I can do that in my dressing gown, if that's still respectful. I don't know. But I've never actually made it to a dawn service. And it's on the list to do. So I'm thinking perhaps, that's a good start. If I can make it to the end of my driveway, maybe next year I'll make it to the dawn service. And, there are people in our family who are in spirit and people in the living who have served this country. And I really do want to give them my deepest gratitude, thanks, and respect. And honour them in any way that I can. So thank you. Okay, I have a little bit more news. I also want to thank all the essential workers, the people out there still going to their jobs, doing the very best that they can, especially all of our healthcare workers and medical staff, everyone in the hospitals, the cleaners, the kitchen staff, the electricians, the plumbers, everyone behind the scenes, the people that clean the windows, and of course our very highly trained and skilled medical teams in Australia. I want to thank everybody for everything that they're doing across all the essential services. I also want to give a big shout out to all the parents and carers who have been at home at this time with their children, homeschooling or caring for elderly parents, all the things they're doing, looking after pets. I just want to acknowledge you and say, yep, it's been super, super challenging on all different levels for all of us, and yet we are coming through this. And we need to be really, really proud of the effort we've made, especially here in Australia, to do the right thing, to do the things that the government's asked us to do, and to be cooperative, to be patriotic, and to be loyal to our country, and to listen to the very best of medical advice, and try and stay home and keep each other safe and well. I also would like to acknowledge and give my condolences to all of those who have had family members and loved ones transition during this pandemic. And I also will be looking at having a minute's silence for them in another video. And I just want to reassure you, because I am a medium as well, and this is from my belief system, that if you've had loved ones transition from this pandemic, like loved ones transitioning from any other cause, what happens is you're never alone in that process. You're not alone if you're there with your loved ones or not, whilst they are transitioning, and they're not alone during that process. I've been really privileged to be shown by spirit people actually transitioning out of their bodies many, many times. This happens when I'm doing mediumship readings, it happens when I'm doing platforms at church, happens in my own meditations, my own conversations with spirit, and there is no pain. There's just the most you can't put into words the most beautiful sense of peace and love. It's whenever I've felt it, it's completely overwhelming. And yet I've also understood that I'm only experiencing the smallest amount of this experience that's possible within, the body and the mind, and all my frames of reference, and within my own, emotional scope and spirit at the moment. And I've always had that sense of peace, no matter how people pass. Now, many people haven't been able to physically be with their loved ones as they pass, and that's not something that always comes together and happens anyway. Yet at this time, I know that's been especially difficult for many of you and for many, many families across the whole world. And I want for you to know that energy has no boundaries. There are no barriers. So you've been thinking of your loved ones as they've been unwell or been in hospital, or if they've actually transitioned. And your love and your energy has gone out to them. And they know that. They experience that and they feel that as much as they are open to. And the point of transition, and I know this is really tricky, and please forgive me, it's a very sensitive subject. And if you want to talk about it, get in touch with me. On the point of transition, there is an opening up and a release. So we can feel so much more. And so know that, even if you weren't aware when your loved one was transitioning, they are still always, held within your own thoughts, your own mind, your own heart. And the vibration of that constant thought and love that you have for them, that would go out. Of course, vibrations are more intense if we're actually in the act of praying or of sending healing energy. All that energy, that vibration of that is raised, and therefore people can receive it more strongly. Yet they do know that you're there. Pardon me. They do know that you're thinking of them. They do know that you love them. Even a lot of elderly people, if they have dementia or Alzheimer's, or they're in a coma, it doesn't matter. There are no boundaries and no restrictions to energy. So your loved ones are always going to know how you feel, and that you want to be there with them, and that a part of you is, and that even beyond death, you'll always remain connected. And this is all about emotion and feeling. It's all about the love we have for others. So please know that love never dies, and your connection with your loved one in spirit will change. So with your loved one, it changes once they go into spirit, and yet it's always there. I find the thing that changes the most is the onus is more on us to keep working on the relationship and upholding our part, and understanding, how to communicate with our loved ones in spirit, and how to be receptive to their communications. That's the probably the biggest difference I've found. Okay, so please know, I am thinking of you all. I'm keeping, everybody in my thoughts, and on my prayer list. And there are many, many people, all of us light workers all around the world, doing the same thing. Okay, I think that was it. Right, the question I asked for this week was, how can we continue to rise to meet the current challenges we face and take the best care of ourselves as we do this. And I need for you right now to just take a moment, just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, relaxing down. And I need for you to choose a number between 1 and 4, and you can do that now. Okay, you need to remember that number because that's the number of the card whose message will just be a little bit more relevant for you and for whatever challenges you're facing specifically in your life at the moment. And the message will just be a little bit more pertinent to whatever is going on for you. Okay, so I've chosen 4 cards from the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reid, and then I've also chosen some cards from 2 other decks. So, if you chose card number 1, that's our anchor card, and that is here and now. It's a beautiful, really beautiful message this week, and it is about staying in the present moment. We've had this card before. You can go back and watch other readings, and I've probably talked in more detail about it, but it is about staying in the present moment and keeping the focus. I find it's keeping the focus on ourselves. Like my priorities every day is, praying in the morning. I do my 3rd step prayer. I offer my life and my will to God as I understand them, Goddess. And that's my, set point for the day, or that's my foundation and structure for the day. So then it's checking in with myself. How do I feel? And then it's going on, doing my morning routine. And then I can be there for other people. And I find too what really helps me in that morning prayer and that connecting in with God, Goddess as I understand them, is I say something like, I surrender my every thought, word and deed to you this day. I surrender all of my thinking. Let it be in alignment with thy will. Because often I just can't trust my own thoughts. Words come out of my mouth and you can't take them back, and they're not particularly helpful to me or anyone else. And relationships, haven't we learned how important relationships are? And you can't have a healthy relationship without good communication. And then my actions, because my words stem from my thoughts and my actions stem from my words. It goes thoughts, words, deeds. And it's always a little bit of unpacking to find that order, but everything begins as a thought first. Unless you're operating complete from spirit, that's a whole other conversation. But here and now is about, what do you need to connect with the day, especially like in your morning or afternoon routines or throughout the day. What do you need to feel connected to source energy, to be in the here and now? Because remember, peace is a present moment activity. Petria King said that. And the power that you have access to is only ever found in the now. If you want to know how to have the power to be able to carry out God's will for the rest of your day, you're not going to have that unless you're connected in the present moment. And so often, the head leaps, so far into the future, into the past, and it doesn't want to stay in the present moment, because in the present moment, this is where we experience truth. How are we feeling? What is happening around us? What's happening in our body? We check in with the state of our body and our health. What can we control? What can we respond to? And what is out of our control? All of these things are found in the present moment. And that's why it's so, so powerful. And in the present moment is where we feel that deep connection to our higher power as we understand them, to source energy. So this week going forward, it is especially, like it's always important, but it's especially important if we find ourselves, off in our heads, out of our body in some way, in the past, in the future, all over the place, feeling scattered, losing our center, not grounded. What have we done? We've left the present moment. We've left our mind, our body. We've vacated the building. And we need to, focus on those processes and rituals and practices that bring us back here. And from here, then we can go on. I really feel like the message too is, very much this week to be in the world but not of it. And we do that by staying centered in the present moment. If there's anything I can assist and support you with, if I've talked about spiritual concepts or practices, you think, what's that, Kylie? I really don't understand. You are always welcome to get in touch with me. Best way is email, kyliesavagepsychic@gmail.com. Or you can head over to my Facebook page, and I just reopened my Instagram. So it's Kylie _Savage _psychic over on Instagram. And, my last name is spelled a little bit differently. Okay, second card. If you chose this one, it's our next right action to take, and it's come to the edge and it's in protection. So remember, cards in protection in Colette's deck is just an extra hug from the universe, assisting and supporting you to course correct and get back into alignment. Now, what come to the edge in protection is saying is that we could be losing ourselves, coming out of the present moment because we are getting lost in fear. We're either obsessing, we're feeling super anxious, we're catastrophizing or projecting or getting all or nothing thinking, all the thinking errors, which if you have a really good psychologist, they can unpack them with you. If not, just Google thinking errors, cognitive behavior therapy. And come to the edge is saying that, yes, it's really easy to get lost in our fear. And a really good prayer is, God, remove my fear, direct me to what you would have me be. I found myself saying that a fair bit lately, chanting the Serenity Prayer. I put another little poster up in my bathroom, so I'm going to see it every time I dry my hands, the Serenity Prayer. So it's saying that rather than being lost in all this fear, because so many of us, we're feeling hypersensitive. Our fight or flight response has been turned on during this pandemic, and it's not being turned off. And look, a lot of us have got to be wondering what's next. And we are on this, on this trajectory, and it is all about deepening our faith and moving towards courage, the courage to live life as it truly is, to be authentic and real, and to deepen our faith and our connections with our higher power. So come to the edge and protection is saying, rather than getting lost in the fear, come back in the here and now and look at what you need to do and apply courage to the situation. Courage is the antidote. So dig deep. Use your courage muscles. They get bigger the more you use them. Do the things. Go where the fear, you fear to go. Go to where, all the shadow sort of stuff is, and just do the best you can to hold yourself, surrender things to your higher power and love yourself forward this week. Okay, if you chose card number 3, it's mending. Now, mending is all about making amends, patching things up. And if you have been home with your family, your partner, whoever, for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, no doubt your relationship may need a little bit of a tone up. And there could be, we're all just doing the best we can. So we may have made messes. So this week it's about cleaning up those messes the best we can. Just look at your own side of the street. Don't get into what's happened over there. Look at your own side of the street. Where were you out of line? Where could you have made, a different choice? What has happened and how can you make it right? And you need to ask these other people. Put yourself at the top of your amends list. What have you done? What are the ways you've let yourself down or hurt yourself or put pressure on yourself to, manage this unbelievable situation, overwhelming situation better? A lot of people are talking about how much pressure they've put on themselves to, use this time in isolation to be productive and everything. And with all these big things coming up, I'm just doing the best I can to get through each day, to live each moment. And I've just seen that it's so much about letting go and letting go of these ideas and the guilt trips. Oh, you know what? We are all doing the best we can. We need to have that self-compassion. And no, I haven't, written a novel. My business hasn't, it's really needs some love and care and attention. There are so many things I could have done, haven't done them. And I'm just doing the best I can each moment, and that's good enough. So mending in it's been very difficult. I know for myself personally, thinking about family and friends and people I'm no longer in contact with, and what can I do to repair those relationships in any way if that's possible. And we know that sometimes it's not really possible. It's very tricky. So what can you do in indirect ways? Can you write letters to people, then possibly burn them? Can you share them with a counselor? Can you do whatever you can to heal this relationship without having direct contact with these people? And can you just forgive yourself? That's what I really feel is the big message this week. Forgive yourself. You're doing the best you can. That's enough. Okay, I do really love this card. If you chose card number 4, so this card gives us further details and sort of fleshes out the reading as it applies to all the other cards. And the card is poised. I don't know about you, but I feel like some of us are going to have a little bit of isolation lag or regret because it feels like, we don't know how long this is all going on for, and it's been such a challenging time, and yet we're acclimating to it. And now it could possibly be coming to an end for some of us, all of us, most of us, who knows? And are you ready to re-engage with the workforce? Are you ready to go back to school, go back to study, to see family again? And I really feel like with the mending thing, we need to just take things, like we need to go as fast as the slowest part of us is willing to go. Thank you, Mike Robbins. He passed it on from somebody else. I love that saying. Karen Drucker has a whole song about it if you want to look it up on iTunes. So it's honoring whatever your needs are in this moment, because we've gone from this very extreme, strange situations. We can't just flip and dive back into life as it was, because it's not going to be like that. And we need to not be putting pressure on ourselves about that as well. So poised is, to me, is saying, like, if I take this in the very best way that I can understand it and interpret and relate it for you guys, is saying, and I'm looking at what's the message I want to hear, is that you take the time you need to take to be ready to re-engage with the workforce, with family, with all your other responsibilities out there, even the wider world. If you feel in trepidation about re-engaging with, going shopping again and picking up the routines that you had from before this time, just be super kind to yourself. Love yourself for with this and know that's all right too. You may feel like you need a longer period of isolation, and just to slowly go back into things. And yet, if you are poised and you're ready and you want to, launch yourself back into your work life, your personal life, whatever, the dating scene, whatever, the things you've been longing to do in isolation, if you want to do that, then you do you. It's up to you. And it's saying that wherever you're at, this card is saying, you will be okay with this. You will be poised and it will be a positive thing. You'll be ready to have positive experiences. So I really, really love this card. And I think that's a beautiful message to wrap up the 4 card reading with. Now we have another little interesting tidbit from, I think it's Goddess Guidance by Doreen Virtue, her deck. We have Isis. When I was a little kid, there was a TV show that had the goddess Isis in, so I was fascinated with her. She's one of my favorite goddesses. I see her as a very strong goddess. And with this card, it is about past lives, reconnecting with your past lives. It says, the situation involves past life memories. And I had a thought a while ago. I was like, we're all saying that we've never experienced a pandemic before, but in actual fact, if you believe in reincarnation and past lives, there's a very good chance you have experienced this before, and some of the fear that's coming up could have a past life connection. Now, I'm going to redirect you to some people who, if you're interested in past life stuff, these would be my go-tos. and to source them out. But there are a lot of people that do past life work, and I really, really love it. So Tony Riley, she's here in Australia. If you look up the Tony Riley Institute, or you do a Google search on Tony Riley, you will find her and all of her resources about the past lives. Tony actually had a section in Dr. Brian Weiss, one of his latest books. So Dr. Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters, that was his very famous book. He has meditations, there are videos on YouTube. Go and check out his website. Dr. Brian Weiss, he has a fascinating backstory as to how he got into past life work. And he's an amazing, incredible person, and he has some really, really great work if you're interested in past life stuff. So go there first. If you need any assistance with the details or you get lost, get in touch with me. Okay. Kyle Gray is another person who, because Hay House Radio, they're all archive shows at the moment, I kind of feel like I've lost touch with people like Kyle Gray. And on social media now, if you don't go searching, people don't just turn up in your feed as much. So Kyle Gray is a beautiful person. He's based in England, I believe, or maybe he's back in Scotland, but he's Scottish. And he was known as like one of the youngest, spiritual teachers in the world, and known as, the angel guy. And this card is from his angel prayers deck. I just want to show you the back of the cards. I just thought that's I keep, feeling this connection to powerful images this week, and this has sacred geometry on it too. So that might be something that you guys are thinking about. All right, love and accept yourself. It says, thank you, angels, for lovingly guiding me to self-acceptance. Like I've been talking through this reading, we've all done this pandemic the very best we can. You need to get on board with that and just reassure yourself, be your own best friend and just say, you really have done the best that you can. You're okay. Everything is okay. Everything is getting more okay. And, just really support yourself and give yourself whatever you need. We know ourselves best. And you can ask other people for what you need as well. But and it's okay to coach people in the words you need to hear, the actions that you need to receive, that sort of stuff. It's perfectly okay. Other people aren't mind readers. Relationships, it's all about communication, such an integral part. We must have open, honest communication. And we must feel safe enough in our relationships to ask for what we need and to be very specific about it. So, ask yourself, in this moment, what do you need? And then go about listening to yourself and then getting your specific needs met. I did ask a question about self-care because, especially too, with that card poise coming up, what is it that you need to do for yourself so that you can be okay in these coming weeks? What are the actions you can take towards self-care? Sometimes it's just having more rest, actually some more time out away from people. That might be something you're really craving. So when you do get the opportunity to do that, please don't feel guilty about that. Needing some time out, some time alone, reconnect with nature, and just anything that's going to really soothe your soul. Go do that. Okay, many, many blessings on your week. I trust that you had a wonderful new moon in Taurus ritual, it was yesterday or the day before. Yep, totally losing track of the days here. Thank God I have a diary that I have to write in every day. Anyway, I would like to wish many blessings on the wishes that you made and know that it was all about money manifesting and taking care of the body and your health. So, have a beautiful, beautiful week. If there's any way I can assist and support you, I still have a special offer running, a one-question psychic reading. I can deliver it via Zoom or email. It's 35 Australian dollars. It's going to end at the end of April, so you only have one more week. Quickly get in touch with me if you'd like to book that. Take really, really good care of you. See you next week.